An unobvious but available answer. Is that a bad question? Okay. Okay, so he thinks it's a custom, but what is that? What does it take for the? For example, could I set up my own custom? Or are you raising a question? Or you just raising a question? Yeah.
My question is, does he regard the picture and definition of the use as only two possibilities?
Yeah, there's the definition, there's the picture. These are two ways of setting up standards of right and wrong and what keeps us together. Yeah, and then there's the use. Then there's just staying with the use and saying there's no more going on than the use. In which case, it's hard to see what keeps us together in our use, and it's baffling how there can be standards of right and wrong. Right? Those are the three things. Yeah.
Does somewhere elsewhere in literature rule out the idea that reality plays any role?
Reality.
Yeah, I mean, actual objects.
Well.
That seems obvious answer to me.
Very good. Okay. I think he does take it to those three things. I think it's fair to say he takes it to those three things are the available alternatives. Yeah. Certainly that's the way I'm interpreting them. Right. So I do think that's right. He does take it that these are the available alternatives. I think with the what you said was the object. Right. Now in a way that was how we began in this class. Right. That we want there to be standards of truth and falsity for sentences, and the way you get standards of truth and falsity for sentences is by giving references to the singular terms. Right. You get the sentence Sally is tall. That can be right or wrong. How come? The first thing you have to do is get a reference associated with the sign Sally. Yeah. So you're right. If we got a reference associated with Sally, and we know what it takes for something to be tall, then we're going to have standards of right and wrong. Yeah. But how does the sign Sally on its own is just a dead sign? How does the sign Sally get hooked up to the object? He's taking it's through a definition, an interpretation, and that might be provided by, for example, a set of descriptions. Yeah. Or it might be provided by pointing to Sally and saying, okay, so if I'm going to explain to you who Sally is, what the word Sally stands for, I say, lo, Sally, or here Sally, or meet Sally. Right? Well, what does that give you? It gives you a perception of Sally. What do you get by way of your understanding of the sign? You get an image of Sally. That's all it can be giving you. I mean, how is the sign getting connected to the object? Either by description or by some perceptual link. But that is what he's addressing. That doesn't add a fresh possibility. You see what I mean? Yeah. It's not, if you can get the sign associated with the object, then you're home. I agree with that. But how does the sign get associated with the object? That's the question. Your understanding of the sign has to be what hooks it up to the thing. And we don't know how that can be happening.
But it seems like he wants to say that understanding has nothing to do with the object at all. It's just like mimicking whatever people do with words.
Yeah, this whole picture of, very good. He is attacking the whole way I've been setting up problems during this whole class, right? He is saying that way of thinking of it, the sign gets associated with an object, and it does so through your understanding of the sign. And then the puzzles we've been discussing with Frege and Russell and Kripke and so on are all about how your understanding of the sign could get you hooked up to the object. And he's saying none of that works. The only way that could be working is through a definition, as with descriptions, or through a picture, as with a perceptual link. And that can't be what sets up the standards of right and wrong. Something else is setting up the standards of right and wrong. So it's not done by connecting the signs to objects at all. That's just a mistake. Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't it be that the mental representation picture would have you lesser facts about human brains just tell this whole story?
Okay, well, let's take this slow. So just to help me think about that idea. Okay, so you're saying it's certain, there's a mental picture, right? So there's the cube. So you got a mental picture of a cube, and we agree, right, that if you just have that on its own, that could be interpreted in lots of different ways. Yeah. And then you're going to add in something about the brain. Yeah. This being the brain. Something like that, right? Okay, but what about the brain? What's it going to be about the brain?
Well, I mean, there are a number of different ways that you and my brain can both employ this picture of a cube.
Right.
And we can use other bits of our language to settle which of those we're talking about.
Okay, so now, can I wave this about a bit more? Okay, thanks. So suppose we've got the word cube, right? And the question is, does it apply to this? We agree the picture doesn't do it, right? But there's something about the brain hooks the word cube up to this. Yeah. So when I have that picture before my mind, something about the brain makes me, in conjunction with that picture, makes me apply the word cube to this. Right. But how could that constitute there being a standard of right or wrong? All that this stuff about my brain tells me is that I'm now going to say that's a cube. But if I do that, I'd actually be wrong. That's just the kind of mistake I might make. Maybe my brain is programmed, so I just make mistakes. I mean, the truth is, I actually have one of those brains that are so programmed that I make mistakes. Right? I don't always get it right. Yeah? So suppose this is just the kind of case that trips me up. I'm going to say this is a cube, but it's not actually. So how come there's a standard of right and wrong whereby I'm getting this wrong? All my brain did was ensure that I made a mistake. You see what I mean?
I don't think there's those kinds of standards of right and wrong maybe for a cube case, but maybe in other cases there would be. But
Right.
I'm just trying to say why I think that the sign gets hooked up to the object, not necessarily up to standards of right and wrong.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I mean, the reason I'm taking time on it, I think that is an idea worth pursuing. But the obvious problem is that it's just a roundabout way. All it gives you is a roundabout way of restating the basic problem. It doesn't show you how standards of right and wrong are set up in the first place. It just tells you your brain is going to make you do this or that. I mean, because you might think, well, my brain's got encoded in it instructions on how the word should be used. But if you ask what those instructions are, you just run right back into the initial problem, which is those instructions are either a dictionary definition of the word cube, in which case you've got to ask, well, what are the primitive signs for the brain? What are the signs that the brain understands, but not in terms of definitions or sets of instructions? And how do right and wrong happen for them? And also, what keeps us together? I mean, after all, there's a lot of individual variation in brains. People can have quite different brains, but still understand the words in the same way.
But that's about the brain we put together without giving us the standards of right and wrong.
Right, we might have similar brains, right, and therefore use the word cube in similar ways. Yeah? But suppose you take Martians, suppose the Martians visit, right? The Martians have brains made of jello, but they're very good, they're very smart, despite that. they could still understand the language in just the same way we do. They could learn our language. It would be no good to say, and they would be kept together with us in their use of the signs. It might turn out, say, that Scots people have brains made of quite different stuff to the rest of humanity. Yeah, it would explain a lot, but the basic use of English would still be quite the same. It's still be kept together. You see what I mean? It wouldn't show that we were. So whatever's keeping us together, it doesn't seem to be that. Yeah. So sorry, you were going to raise a question. Were you distracting us? You went like that, but okay. Yeah.
Why doesn't the picture of the cube show that's not a cube? That's pretty obvious. It's not a cube. It has one side really long and the other side pretty short. That side seems pretty big. If it were drawn correctly, it would be bigger and not be.
Right. So if you don't like this example, let me give another one that makes the same point. I think. Suppose I take triangle, right? So I'm going to explain triangle, right? I draw this, right? Well, are the sides are the same or not? I'm just talking about a triangle. Right. But that's one, right? So if I'm going to do an image of a triangle, should the sides be the same or should they be different? I show many images. That's a genius, right? But however many images I do, right? I mean, you see why he says there are going to have to be many images, right? I mean, the trap I was setting up, it's not a very fancy trap, it was a simple trap, but the trap I was setting up was, you either say the sides here are the same, in which case by your reasoning, all the sides should have to be, of any triangle would have to be the same, which is the wrong answer, or I make them different, in which case the sides of any triangle I set up would have to be different, right? So then you say, no, I've got to have many kinds of triangle, but really, once you put it like that, there are endlessly many different kinds of triangle, right? Really infinitely many once you start. Because after all, these sides here are quite a bit longer than the base, but not all that much longer. And what about a triangle like this? You see what I mean? Yeah? Or what about a triangle like this? Right? So for your understanding of the word triangle, you're going to need just infinitely many images. Yeah? And you still not quite know what the answer is, because after all, it might be just geometrical shape that you're explaining. Yeah? And just giving some examples of geometrical shapes. Yeah? Or plane figure. And so with this, with a cube, if I was explaining the meaning of the sign of a word like a six-sided figure, I could give that as an example. It's a perfectly good example of a six-sided figure. It unquestionably is a six-sided figure. And then you're like, yeah, but do the sides have to be the same? Well, no. But then I get the same problem for this? You see what I mean? I didn't do that because I went to the triangle because it's easier for me to draw all the different triangles. But if I was just explaining six-sided figure, I might just give that, or I might give one of the different size sides. But then you get the same kind of puzzle generated. None of these images is going to do the work. Yeah? It depends how you use the image. And what Wittgenstein's saying about that is, the picture of the cube suggests a certain use to you, but it doesn't determine what the right use is. It is not like a contract. It's more like a kind of nudge in the ribs that says, try this. This will suggest something to you, but it doesn't define right and wrong. Okay, that's the argument anyway, but come back if, okay, yep.
If all we do when we're using words is mitigating the way other people
Is just what, sorry?
Is just mitigating the way other people use them?
Yes, right.
How can he account for the addition of use of language? I can
Yeah.
convince somebody by saying television.
Absolutely. Yeah, how could it be happening? Yeah, I agree the most basic phenomena of language seems very difficult to understand. On his account, the key has got to be this notion of custom. But if you ask, what is a custom? Then I just want to blast through what the positive account is. That is a really basic question you're asking. I mean, you've got a word like television that it doesn't seem to be defined. It's not, I don't know a definition of television. I mean, I think I know what it is, all right, but I don't know the definition. And he thinks what you need is a custom, and he thinks, well, what is a custom? So all I want to do just in the last couple of minutes is there are these things you can figure out from the text. There are simple, definite things about what a custom is. A custom at least requires many cases in which the word is used. It mustn't be that you use the word television just once, and that gives you a custom. It's got to happen many times for it to constitute a custom. And he says, well, it's what we call obeying a rule in the use of language, something that would be possible for only one man to do, and to do only once in his life. And if you're going to have a word that you can go right or wrong, say things are true or false, and it has a meaning, could that be something that you do just once? It just pops into your head, you say, stimp, that is a stimp, and the topic is never mentioned again, right? Does that make any sense? And he says, no, that does not make sense. It couldn't be that someone said, that is a stimp, and they got it right or wrong, they what they said was true or false, but no one ever used that word again. That is a note in the grammar of the expression to obey a rule. He means, if you just think about what it is to obey a rule, you'll see that this is impossible. It's not possible that there should have been only one occasion on which someone obeyed a rule. And it's not possible that there should have been only one occasion on which a report was made, an order given, or understood. I think what he means there is, it couldn't happen that only once in the history of the community did anyone ever give an order. For there to be such a thing as an order, it's like a signpost. There has to be this. It has to happen many times that orders are given. Now, since following a rule is not an interpretation, obeying a rule, using the word in accord with a rule, bringing your use of a word under a rule, is a practice. Practice he seems to use interchangeably with custom. And to think that you're actually obeying the rule is not the same thing as obeying the rule. So you can always be deviating from the rule, even though you're doing your best to conform to it. So when you say something's a cube or something's white, you can know perfectly well what the rule is. You can be trying to conform to the rule, but making a mistake. But the existence of the rule isn't a matter of some interpretation or image in your mind. So it's not possible to obey a rule privately. I think what he means is it's not possible for you to just set up rules on your own and say, I'm going to use language this way, because you have no way of saying what the way would be. You can't do it on your own. The only way you have of saying what the way would be is to give definitions or to produce a mental image. But on your own, these are all the resources you'd have, and you can't do it. You can't define words in those terms. If you did, you just obliterate the contrast between using the word and getting it right and using the word and getting it wrong. But the problem here for this approach to getting it right or wrong in your use of language is, suppose you've got many cases. That's all we've got so far of what a custom is. There are many cases in which people apply the word. But how can that be what makes it the case that there are standards of right or wrong for using the word? I can't do it on my own. And there are things like lifting the table that I couldn't do on my own, but if a bunch of people do it, they can all do it together. So I can't do it on my own, set up standards of right and wrong for the use of language. But how does having other people around help? If none of us can do it on our own, is it like lifting a heavy weight? How can the existence of many people mean that we can set up standards for right and wrong, whereas one person couldn't do it on their own? I think a basic point here is whatever a custom is, the existence of a custom just can't be the mere existence of many cases in which we apply a word. There's got to be something more to it than that. And I think that if you remember, there was that quote from Cavell about shared senses of humour, shared senses of what is appropriate and what is not, of what is a joke, what a request. There's some notion of form of life in Wittgenstein, the same set of shared reactions to the phenomena around us, the same kinds of social behaviour that we have. There's some kind of background or context like that into which all these many cases of applying a word have to be fitting, so that we have to be all finding it natural to use the word in a particular way, and part of what Cavell called our whirl of organism. Something like that is the picture. What exactly it means, I find it very difficult to interpret, but that's as far as I got for today, and we'll continue with this on Wednesday. Okay, thanks.